Good morning, listeners of Hot Topic and Fresh News. Today, on the 28th of February, 2024, we bring you the most pressing news from Texas. Wildfires have been wreaking havoc in the state's Hutchinson County, including the cities of Borger and Fritch, leading to a disaster situation. The severe damage has left homes and businesses in ruins, while power outages and water shortages add to the crisis. More than 13,000 residents found themselves without electricity as of last night. Governor Greg Abbott's office is stepping in by deploying aerial firefighting equipment and disaster recovery task forces to the county. In Amarillo, Texas, and neighboring Potter and Randall counties, local states of disaster have been declared as the threat of wildfires looms. Poor air quality is resulting from smoke streaming southward into the Amarillo area. At least 5 wildfires are currently raging across the Texas Panhandle, scorching an alarming 370,000 acres. Several communities in the region are on high alert, with evacuation orders and shelter-in-place advisories in effect. Videos and images reveal the dire situation as wildfires tear across the Texas Panhandle, with the Smokehouse Creek Fire in Hutchinson County proving particularly destructive. Over 200 individuals are seeking refuge in a church in Fritch, with some having lost their homes. Multiple communities in Moore County are grappling with emergency evacuation alerts. The fate of livestock remains uncertain as cattle ranchers were forced to cut fences and evacuate. High winds are expected to switch directions, potentially expanding the flames in a different direction. The wildfires in Texas, Hutchinson County, and the Texas Panhandle thus remain a significant threat, causing extensive damage and posing a severe threat to the affected areas. That's all for the headlines. Stay tuned for a more in-depth discussion later in the show. Good morning, folks. This is your seasoned host, Emily here.
And I'm your insightful commentator, David.
Together, we bring to you daily on Hot Topic and Fresh News. If you haven't already, then hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Now, straight to the hot topics.
As we dive into the Texas wildfire crisis, could you give us an update on the ground situation in Hutchinson County?
Absolutely. Hutchinson County, which includes Borger and Fritch, is dealing with a disaster due to the wildfires. Homes and businesses have experienced significant damage, and the county is grappling with power outages and water shortages. To give you a sense of the scale, more than 13,000 people were without power as of Tuesday night.
That sounds quite dire. How is the county managing the firefighting efforts?
Firefighting resources are stretched thin as they battle blazes in multiple directions. The county is receiving help from Governor Greg Abbott's office, which is sending aerial firefighting equipment and 2 disaster recovery task forces to the area.
And how are the residents coping with this crisis?
Hundreds of residents are seeking shelter at the Celebration Family Church in Fritch. The county has urged people to stay alert and to have a bag packed in case they need to evacuate swiftly.
Moving on to Amarillo and the surrounding counties, what's the situation there?
A local state of disaster has been declared for Amarillo and 2 adjacent counties, Potter and Randall, as a raging wildfire advances toward these areas. There was a mandatory evacuation order for the Mezia Park subdivision north of Amarillo, but it got lifted later Tuesday night. Smoke from the fires is drastically affecting the air quality in the region.
Can you shed some light on the impact of the smoke from the fires?
The smoke from these wildfires is streaming southward into Amarillo, significantly reducing air quality. This situation led to the declaration of a disaster, notifying state officials of the region's need for emergency assistance and extra resources to respond to the fires.
Wow, the effects are widespread. We heard about 5 active wildfires in the Texas Panhandle. How extensive is the damage there?
As of early Wednesday, at least 5 wildfires have scorched more than 370,000 acres in the Texas Panhandle. This has sparked evacuation orders and shelter-in-place advisories for several communities in the region.
Could you detail the status of these wildfires?
Absolutely. The Smokehouse Creek Fire in Hutchinson County alone has burned 300,000 acres and is 0% contained. The Windy Deuce Fire in Moore County has scorched 40,000 acres and is 20% contained. The Grapevine Creek Fire in Gray County has burned 30,000 acres and is 60% contained. The Reamer Fire and Magenta Fire in Hutchinson and Oldham counties, respectively, have each burned 2,000 acres, with 0 and 10% containment, respectively.
Are these fires affecting other regions as well?
Yes, these fires are crossing over into other Texas counties and causing impacts. Some flames have even moved into Oklahoma, however. The extent of the burned acres in Oklahoma is unclear.
Any positive updates amidst all this?
There is some good news. The Juliet Pass Fire, which was burning around Armstrong County, has been 100% contained after scorching nearly 3,000 acres.
Lastly, can you share a bit on how these wildfires are impacting the roads and travel?
The wildfires are encroaching on roads, filling the air with blinding smoke, and lighting up the night sky. In Amarillo, Texas, agencies are battling flames moving south toward the city on both sides of Highway 136. So far, no fire has reached Amarillo. Moving on to the ground conditions in Hutchinson County, the colossal Smokehouse Creek Fire has been seen overtaking roadways and shrouding the landscape in dark smoke. Firefighters are currently on the scene, building fire lines and working on structure protection in Canadian. Additional firefighting crews from Greenville, Texas have been deployed to assist, but the situation remains precarious.
Can we talk about the measures taken to protect the most vulnerable from the fires, particularly hospital patients and residential care facility residents?
Absolutely. A medical system in Canadian Texas has safely evacuated its hospital patients and the residents of 2 care facilities as wildfires threaten the area. These individuals were relocated to the city of Pampa, about 50 miles to the southwest. However, the evacuation order was later changed to a shelter-in-place advisory due to road closures.
How are the affected residents coping with the situation?
More than 200 people are taking shelter in a church in Fritch, Texas. Some of these individuals have lost their homes and, understandably, are devastated. A team of over 50 volunteers has been consoling displaced community members, providing emotional support and reassurance.
In the face of such a disaster, it's heartening to see communities come together. Can you give us an update on the situation in Amarillo?
Amarillo remains threatened by the wildfires, with at least 3 active fires burning north of the city. While no fire has reached Amarillo yet, the smoke has significantly reduced air quality in the region, making it an environment of concern.
What's the situation on the ground given the reduced visibility from the thick smoke?
The smoke has indeed created a challenging situation. Visibility has been reduced to about 100 yards or less in some areas. Some homes can reportedly be seen burning from a local church in Fritch, Texas.
You mentioned residents were sheltering at a church. What's their emotional state right now?
Many are undoubtedly facing fear and uncertainty, with several people initially trying to ride out the blaze, but forced to evacuate when flames reached their homes. Despite the circumstances, the residents of West Texas are known to be tough and resilient.
What's the status in Moore County, where the Windy Deuce Fire has been taking its toll?
In Moore County, local authorities are still battling active, uncontrolled fires. The Moore County Sheriff's Office has called the events a historic tragedy. Emergency evacuation alerts have been issued in several communities.
And the impact on the local agriculture and livestock industry?
The damage to livestock is devastating. An 80,000-acre ranch outside of Stinnett, Texas, was threatened by towering columns of smoke. Ranch workers had to cut fences and release cattle due to the rapidly approaching Smokehouse Creek Fire. Some livestock has been lost, but the full extent remains uncertain. The situation remains volatile as the blazes still have enough fuel to keep going, according to the National Weather Service Amarillo. The high winds of up to 35 miles per hour persist, and there have even been directional shifts, which could allow the flames to expand further.
So we can expect this to go on for a while?
That seems to be the case. Reports of damage, including burned structures in evacuated areas, are already coming in. The winds are expected to remain strong until early Wednesday morning.
Is there any good news?
Yes, there is. The humidities are expected to rise Tuesday night, and Wednesday is not outlooked for critical fire weather conditions. But the impact of these changes remains to be seen. We want to thank all of you for tuning in to Hot Topic and Fresh News today. We dove deep into the ongoing wildfires in Texas, and your support means the world to us. For those who haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and activate notifications so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed today's discussion, feel free to share it with your friends, family, or anyone who appreciates a deep dive into current events.
Absolutely. And remember, we're here every day, bringing you the latest in news and analysis. Who knows what we'll be talking about next? Could be aliens, could be tech breakthroughs. You won't know unless you tune in.
We're grateful for your company today, and we're looking forward to our next episode.
Oh, and don't forget, if you have any thoughts on today's content, feel free to leave a comment. We love hearing from you, Emily and David. And remember, stay in the loop. Keep your eyes on the news. Our channel's content will amuse.